What's up, guys? So, I'm going to talk a bit about the race today. Um, and before I do want people to know that even though I am not a fan of road course racing, I was looking forward to this race. Coming off of Atlanta last week, god awful fucking race. I said, you know what, this has to be better. And, you know, looking forward to not having stage cautions. It's a good thing. They need to get rid of stage cautions everywhere. And I know that it did help provide a much smoother flowing racing experience uh, yesterday, right? With, I think, the truck and Xfinity. That being said, and a lot of people are promoting this. I see it on social media. Oh, wow, it was amazing not having the stage cautions. I agree. But did we really get to experience the greatness of not having the stage cautions? The answer is no. Because in spite of not having these pre planned stage cautions, the race was still ruined by cautions. Now, you look at most of these cautions, and the truth is, most of the time you look at it and you're like, well, that's a caution. There isn't really anything I could look at and point to and say that didn't need to be a caution. So, can you really blame anybody? And at first I said, well, it is what it is. What are you going to do? But then I realized, as you can see right here, turn one is an abomination. And there is something you can blame for these cautions. Turn one. If you look here, this is what happens on every restart. 4, 5, sometimes 6 wide into a funnel. Now, if you remember last year with the Indy Road Course, same thing, turn one, funnel of death, I called it. These tracks are just not made for stock cars. And I'm telling you, I'm not lying to you. I was looking forward to this race. I really, really wanted to embrace it and enjoy it. And there's a lot of people right now, as I speak, pushing the idea that this was a better race than it really was. I will say that there was a section of this race that, if you only focus on that, was actually good. Okay? So I'm being fair. There was a run after the second stage where the race went green for a while and we actually got to see green flag pit stops. And then, as we were running down to the final 12 laps or so, 12, 15 laps, you started to see a story form about fuel mileage. Guys trying to save fuel. Suarez was, coming on strong, and he was going to eventually take the lead because Reddick was kind of holding back a bit because he was short on fuel. So there's a lot of excitement there. There's a story, the type of thing you expect to see at a road course, fuel mileage and those things. And it was really starting to shape up, right? Because the early part of the race was garbage. Right off the bat, right off in the beginning of the race, I mean, as soon as the race started, turn one, uh, you got cars getting into each other, caution. Now, this is a huge racetrack, so the moment there's a caution, it takes forever. The cautions at these road courses last longer than at an oval track. So it's just commercial after commercial. They come back from commercial, they're still under caution, go back to commercial. So right off the bat, turn one let you know this is going to be a major player in this race today. They get back to racing. Then we got another caution. That caution was brought out by a mistake made by Bubba Wallace. Okay, it's racing. He made a mistake, whatever. Um, you can't blame that on turn one, right? But that was the only other time where you really couldn't blame turn one. The rest, then after that, after the second caution, that's heading into stage two, which we didn't get the stage caution, thank God. And then the race went green for a long time. And that's where the strategy started to play out. The people, in the booth were talking about strategies and two stops versus three, who had enough fuel. Reddick had to change mid race his strategy because he realized there's no way I can make it on the strategy we were going for, so we might as well pit. So there were things happening, and that was the best part of the race. However, that didn't last. And once they started getting into the late stages of the race, where the big story started to play out, things were looking exciting, then there was a caution. I don't remember who brought it out. I think it might have been Kozlowski or somebody, right? Once that happened, I knew right then and there. I said, "This is not going to end well. It's late in the race. People are more desperate. Turn one is going to ruin this race." And I fucking knew it. That's when we started getting one caution after the other. Why? Every time there's a restart, you get this funnel, you see all this craziness.
Out there, and the car's got to jump back on.
Priest, the red car, way on the outside, and he's going to be in trouble right here.
This is not a race. This is a joke. This reminds me of that Indy race last year, that funnel of death. And remember when Joey Logano made that ridiculous dive bomb on the inside and people were like, where the fuck are you going? There's nowhere to go. Now, this wasn't the caution I was looking for, but I was looking for it. They didn't post it yet. I don't even know if it's up, but let me see if I can find it. But in either case, the race is ruined. Okay? And what are you going to do? Who are you going to blame? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I don't think it's posted yet. We got so many overtime finishes. I lost count. So maybe it was the second one. Let's see if it was. Hold on a second. Let me see if it was this one. Bear with me. I want to show you guys.
Suarez McDowell.
Okay, this is it. Suarez was on the inside. He ran great all day, was really running top 5 all day. And I knew this was going to happen. So he took the inside and watched the inside lane behind him. They all turned into Joey Logano from the Indy course.
Gotta stay in line.
Watch this.
Finish line. Here we go.
Big push
Look at that.
on the inside.
Where the fuck are these idiots going? There's nowhere to go. You're not going to outbreak anybody in front of you without just taking them out, which is exactly what ended up happening to Suarez. Watch this.
McDowell sends it on the outside.
Everybody's look at his fucking crazy ass turn.
They're in it. Reddick underneath of him. Around goes Truex.
That's a joke. This is a fucking joke. It's an embarrassment. This is not racing. This is a fucking circus. And of course, everybody's going to dive bomb. They're desperate. It's the end of the race. And how else are you going to pass? If you don't dive bomb into this ridiculous funnel, you don't have a chance. And people that were actually running great all day long end up getting punted. Their race is ruined. I know there's some people out there that look at this and they're like, well, that's racing. I'm sorry. I don't see this. This is not acceptable to me. And I know there's going to be people out there. Oh, it was great. Packed house. COTA's great. I'm sorry. We've seen several races at COTA, and it's always this is always going to happen on a restart. And the later you get into the race, the worse it's going to get. So I really did enjoy a very small part of that race when it was green for a while. But the beginning of this race was garbage and the ending was an atrocity. This is embarrassing and it's avoidable because NASCAR did not have to make a race at COTA. You look at the layout of this track, it's not made for stock cars. This is for light open wheel cars that are glued to the track. You bring stock cars here and all of a sudden it's a bunch of shopping carts fighting to get in front of the line to the next cashier. This is awful. And I'm disappointed because I wanted to enjoy this race. I really gave it an opportunity and people are bragging about, wow, no stage cautions. But did you even notice that we didn't have a stage caution? Of course not. The story today is the shit show of turn one, just like it was at turn one at the Indy Road Course. This is garbage. It bothers me because this is never going to change. This is what this type of racetrack is going to produce every fucking time. And if you think it's okay for people that through no fault of their own, they're just having a great race and they get punted and now you end up all the way in the back and hey, it is what it is because look, it's fucking bumper cars for kids. That's not racing to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 wide here, pretty much. And this is what you get every restart. And it wasn't just the cup race. This shit was going on yesterday too. It just wasn't as bad. But this track is not made for this. And nobody is going to admit it because they didn't admit it last year. People want to like it. So they tell you that it's better than it really is. And I'm telling you, if the race would have ended the way under green, the way that it was playing out, okay, where you had fuel strategy, there were guys that weren't going to make it. To watch that play out, to see these battles, not knowing who the hell's going to end up winning this race. If the race would have ended like that, it would have been night and day difference. And in spite of how bad the beginning of the race was, I would have enjoyed it so much more. But once that caution came out, I said, here we go. It's going to be the funnel of death. I thought of Indy right away, and it's exactly the way it played out. Exactly. This is, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I give this race a 5 out of 10. And I want to like it. I do. I swear I really did. I watched it. I listened. The broadcast, it's not going to get much better. It just isn't. Clint Boyer is, no matter how many people you shove into that booth, and they had way too many people in the booth. They brought in a French guy, Gunther. I don't know. I don't remember his name. I don't know who he is, right? But I was interested to hear his take. I actually wanted to hear him speak. And he really couldn't say much because you have too many fucking people in the booth. Then they invite Chase Elliott from remote, wherever the fuck he is, and he's chiming in. So it's like, how many people are you going to shoehorn into the booth? You bring this guy, make sure he has enough room to speak. And Boyer's always shoehorning. He just can't let people have too much airtime without jumping in. Oh my God. This was not good. It turned out to be a shit show. And you know, it had its moments. It really did. And I I'm glad that we're not getting stage cautions at any of these road courses, but they need to do it everywhere. Get rid of stage cautions altogether. But you're going to have a shit show like this every time you go to Indy and every time you come back to COTA. This corner is not made for stock cars. There's too many turns at this track as well. Um, if you can survive the first lap and the field starts to like kind of settle in, yeah, the racing gets better. But that's the problem here. It's even if it settles in, you get cautions. Why? Because every time at turn one, you have all these guys over here, all these people. There's damage. This is why it might take 3 or 4 laps, and all of a sudden you see car parts hanging off of a car. Then there's a caution for debris, or a tire goes down, or somebody's tire, a fucking toe link gets broken because you're creating damage. Every time you come into a restart of turn one, look at all these cars banging into each other. You're going to get damage.
He's not clear just yet.
Look at Chastain.
Where did he come from?
So you think it's
45
clear,
is not
but
clear. He's
you're going to
have
get more
race
caution.
side by side through the S's. A lot of give and take, a lot of room between these two. That is great.
Hold on.
Pushing wide, clear. Chastain in fifth. McDowell sixth.
Here we go.
Oh, another spinner.
Haley. He's able to continue on. Here we are.
Right there. Crunch,
Another
crunch.
caution. Oh, this is a caution.
Gosh.
There you go.
What am I
And the
looking at?
caution is out.
For what?
Oh, yellow.
For what?
So cool everything down.
Probably debris out there again.
Debris.
The tire off Daniel Suarez shredded all over the racetrack.
Yeah.
And
So Suarez tire shredded. There's debris on the track. Now they have to call another caution. Now you have to have another restart. Now you have to have another fucking joke of that turn one funnel. So where do you think this tire issue came from? When he got fucking punted into by a bunch of idiots dive bombing into a corner that you're not going to make it without taking people out. So this caution breeds cautions thing, it's 10 times worse at Indy and here at COTA. Because turn one is not made for this, for stock cars. I don't know what else to say. I gave it a 5 out of 10, and I'm being kind. And I really, really wanted to like it more. And the best part of this race was when they had that long green flag run where they actually made green flag pit stops. And it was shaping up to be interesting. It really was. But I'm telling you, I cannot take a section of a race and ignore all the other garbage and say it was a good race. This was not a good race, and I'm sorry. There's people on social media right now. This Jeff Gluck guy, I'm sure you guys have seen him on Twitter, talking about this is one of the best races we've had this year, and blah, blah, it's shaping up. And I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking? You just posted that after the third fucking restart, and we're in overtime. So they're trying to make you believe that it's better than you think it is. It's not. It's a shit show. I'm sorry. Some of you are not going to like this. It's just my opinion. Who cares? If you enjoyed it, have at it. I don't enjoy cautions. I don't enjoy especially cautions that you can directly attribute to the design of a racetrack, like Indy, like COTA. This track is not made for stock cars. I'm sure it's a wonderful track for other types of vehicles. Those are my thoughts. I look forward to your comments later.
A vida